Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us on another episode. I'm Braxton Huggins, founder of Texas Hunting Lease Listings. Tonight, special guest Bryan with Bakcou. If you aren't familiar with these guys, they are the leaders in e-bikes for outdoorsmen. Bryan, welcome. Really happy that you could join us tonight.
Yeah, Braxton, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Good deal. Well, before we jump into the Q&A and some of the rapid fire, I do want to introduce the bike. So I'm going to play a quick video for all those that have tuned in and that are going to watch this later on. You guys check this out. Super impressed. If you're a hunter and you like getting out to the blinds, very quick, very simple, very quietly, these bikes are going to be for you. I mean, who wouldn't want to buy one of those, right?
That gets you charged up just watching that, don't it?
Absolutely. For you, I mean, we were talking earlier. You just got back from basically a month-long hunting trip. So I'm sure that you're just watching that. You're saying, "Let's go right back out there."
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's awesome. So first question really is, what's the Bakcou story, and how did you guys get started?
Well, the tagline at the end of that video is exactly what it is. Our products are built for hunters by hunters. I'm a big archer. My brother-in-law, Dave, is a big archer. And we were looking for ways to get into the backcountry quietly, quickly, and scent-free. It seems like every bull we bugled the year that we came out with, that we started looking for these, seems like they were always a mile away, and we were trying to figure out how we could get there without stinking up the mountain by the time we did get there or making a whole lot of noise. So it was out of a need. We were looking for a tool that would allow us to be more effective and a more efficient hunter.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. One of the questions that I know that some of the people that might watch this later on is, and that they'll ask is, what type of range does a bike like this get? I know that there's range anxiety with EV, but I don't know necessarily, what an e-bike to this caliber would be able to produce.
Yeah, and great question. It's kind of like gas mileage in a car. There's a lot of variables. Are you going uphill, downhill? Are you heavy on the gas? Are you pulling something behind you? And similar to an e-bike, but just to kind of get you in the ballpark, I weigh 170 pounds, and I average about 2 miles per amp hour. So your battery is your gas tank. The bigger your battery, the further you're going to be able to go. So we sell a battery as big as 25 amp hours right now. It's the biggest battery that you can get on the market. And it also not only is the size of the battery, but it's the cells that are within the battery. So, you can go to the grocery store and you can buy a $2 9-volt battery. You can buy a $12 9-volt battery. It really makes a big difference depending on what type of cell is in that battery. Will it hold a charge for a longer period of time? But at 170 pounds on a 25 amp hour battery, and these are hunting miles, so this is uphill, downhill, flat ground. I'm using the bike for what it's intended to be used for, but I'm also being battery conscientious. I'm not riding the throttle the whole time. I'm not in a pedal assist 5 the whole time. But I'm certainly not wanting to sweat, and I'm using it for what it's intended to be used for. So 25 amp hour battery, 170 pounds, I get about 50 miles. So you take that 25, multiply it by 2, gives you 50 amp hours. If you're using a 21 amp hour battery, then I'm getting somewhere in the 40, 42 mile range. And that's hunting miles. If I ride it around town and I'm on flat ground and I'm just cruising with the family, I'm going to get a lot more than that.
Well, that's a lot of ground that you can cover in a short amount of time too, right? If you're looking at 40, 50 miles, whether it's round trip or one way, like that, you're covering some serious ground.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a cyclist, Braxton, so you know this. If you're riding 50 miles in a day, you're not hunting. You're just out for a bike ride. So literally, I mean, for the most part, I'll ride my bike 3 or 4 miles to get into the backcountry. Maybe on a big day, I'll be 5 or 6 miles back in there and then 5 or 6 out. So more times than not, I'll pull my battery off and have to charge it, or I'll charge my bike maybe twice during a week-long hunt because
Yeah.
it'll last me that long. Temperature also has something to do with it. So if it's dropping down into the teens at night and that battery's getting cold, temperature always affects batteries. And so
Yeah.
we recommend pulling the battery off, shove it in your sleeping bag, keep it warm, or just, throw it on a charger. We have solar chargers that you can plug it into. It'll charge up during the day when you're not riding it. So lots of things that you can do to extend that. But on average, 2 miles per amp hour if you're within my weight. If you weigh another 50 pounds or 100 pounds, then that's going to bring that mileage down.
Sure. And to be expected, right?
Right. Yep.
So you talked about the backcountry a little bit, and definitely before the call too. Do you have a favorite memory of hunting, whether it be growing up, whether it be as an adult, whether you were using the bike or not? Kind of share us a quick story there.
Yeah. Well, I'll share a story using the bikes. We were on an elk hunt last year, and it was a Utah tag. It was over the counter, and my son, myself, and Brian Marsing, who's our vice president of sales with the company, we were chasing elk. And you know how it seems to work out in every evening. They come out maybe 45 minutes before dark, and so
Yep.
it's like go time. Like you've only
Yep.
got that golden hour to really get in on something. And these elk were moving even slower that evening, but they were screaming, they were popping off. And we jumped on these bikes and we were flying around this mountain from one herd to another, trying to get in on them. And literally there was one point we come flying off this hill and they were closer than what we thought. And Brian was in the lead. I was right behind him, and he slammed on his brakes, and literally all three of us laid our bikes down because this herd was 80 yards from us. They never even saw us coming, and you couldn't hear us. So we were able to get into position, and it was just awesome.
Well, were we successful?
We were not successful.
Oh,
We screwed it up after that point. We tried to get downwind from them because we were kind of the wind. We weren't upwind from them, but we were trying to get moving into a little bit better position. And that's when they saw us. They didn't see us coming in on the bikes. They saw us once we got off the bikes and we were trying to move into position. But
right.
you know what? We still talk about it today. It was so cool because we literally moved from 9,000 feet to about 7,500 feet in all of maybe 7 minutes. We flew off this
You're
mountain
flying down.
and it just allows you to do that. It allows you to get into position when you're hearing elk, when you're seeing elk. It allows you to react really quick and give yourself a chance.
Yeah. So in the video that I showed at the beginning, I couldn't help to notice that there was a set of elk antlers on there. What's the carrying capacity? Can it pull a trailer? What's some of the details there around the bike?
Yeah, so our bikes we rate at up to 300 pounds. Now it'll
Okay.
actually carry more than 300 pounds. We sold a couple of bikes last year to a couple of offensive linemen for the Las Vegas Raiders, and
Nice.
they have sent us pictures and sent us lots of emails of them using the bikes. And these guys are pushing 350, 360, and so it will carry a heavier rider. The one thing that you have to recognize, the more weight you're carrying, kind of like a pickup truck, if you're hauling loads all the time, you're
Yeah.
just going to wear components out a little bit quicker than you are if you're not carrying the heavy loads. So we rate our bikes up around 300 pounds, and it'll pull a 200-pound trailer. Now it's going to depend on the terrain there as well. If you're
Of
pulling a
course.
trailer across a side hill, then you're probably not going to put as much weight in it as you are if you're pulling it down an old logging road. But
Yeah.
yeah, up to a couple hundred pounds. Our single wheel trailer that just has one wheel, we put that one a little bit less, maybe somewhere in the 100-pound range, just because
Yeah.
the weight has to be balanced really well in it. And if you take a corner too quick and you've got a lot of weight in it, it might shift. But our double wheel trailers, yeah, a couple hundred pounds. Easily you
Right.
can carry out the quarters of an elk or a deer, no problem.
Yeah. So being able to get a whitetail here in Texas should be no problem at
No
all.
problem. No problem.
So you guys just launched the Kodiak bike. Tell us a little bit about it. What are some of the new features that really make it stand out in the industry? What are some of the things that you're proud about in being able to launch a new product like this year?
What we love about the Kodiak is it's the Kodiak all-wheel drive. That's the name, AWD, and that sets it apart. It comes with a 500-watt motor in the front hub and a 500-watt motor in the rear hub. Hub motors traditionally don't create the amount of torque that a mid-drive motor creates. So if you buy our Mule or our Storm or our Scout, then you're getting that ultra motor with all that heavy-duty metal gearing.
Yeah,
But when you combine two 500-watt motors in the front hub and the rear hub, and they're moving independent of one another, then they actually really create an incredible bike that can climb and traverse terrain. You've got two wheels. When you're riding a mid-drive motor, all the power is being translated through the drivetrain into the rear wheel, and sometimes you can get into snow and sand, and that rear wheel will dig down a little bit. Whereas with an all-wheel drive bike, you've got two wheels that are pulling you through there, and so that really makes a difference. What's cool about the Kodiak all-wheel drive as well is that there's a little toggle switch on the left side of the handlebars. You can
okay,
actually hit the toggle switch and be just front wheel drive or just rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So as you can imagine, if you're running two motors, you're going to use a little more battery.
of
And our
course.
Kodiak all wheel drive comes standard with a 25 amp hour. So it comes with the biggest battery. So you get the best distance. And just to give you an idea, I was averaging between 35 and 40 miles in all-wheel drive. I wanted to see what I could get if I kept it in all-wheel drive, and that's hunting miles.
Yeah,
So you still get some good distance, but you can even give yourself a little more if you drop down into just rear wheel or just front wheel when you're not climbing the steep stuff. So really awesome there. The other cool thing about it is that it doesn't put a lot of strain on the drivetrain. So you don't put a lot of stress on your chain and a lot of stress on your rear derailleur and your cassette. And so
yeah.
it kind of balances out the distribution of stress on the bike. And yeah, it's just an incredible bike. If you're looking for something that you want in all-wheel drive, it's a great bike. I'm not going to say that it'll outdo our Storms and our Mules and our Scouts, because that mid-drive motor is phenomenal as well.
Sure.
But there's some applications that the all-wheel drive bike definitely excels in.
No, that's awesome, and sounds like a very impressive bike for sure. Here in Texas, it's hunting season, it's whitetail season. So for all the people that are going out to the hill country, to West Texas, hunting here in North Texas, where I'm at, where can people find you? Where can they, either test ride a bike? How can they get in touch with you?
So yeah, you can find us at Bakcou.com. You can follow us at Bakcou Life. So to take a look at the Kodiak all-wheel drive or the rest of our lineup, you can go to Bakcou.com. You can certainly get all the information you need right there off of our website. We do have dealers that are scattered throughout the country. We've got dealers in Texas. So you'll go up to support on our website. You'll see a drop-down toggle menu there that you can run through. You can search for a dealer and see if you got somebody in your neck of the woods. If you don't, you'll be able to see where the nearest dealer to you is. Having said that, if you're in an area where you can't get to one of our dealerships, we have an incredible warranty and return policy. We stand behind our bikes. We want you to be happy with them. We want it to meet your expectations and exceed your expectations. And so if you get one of our bikes, you can buy worry free. If you purchase a bike and it shows up and it's not what you thought it was going to be, you can return it for 100% refund. We'll refund you your money. Braxton, I'm happy to say we have not had to do that. And
That's awesome.
we've been running this for a few years now. We have not had to send a bike back. Once in a while, somebody gets a bike and says, "Oh, that one's a little small," or "That one's a little big," and they want to order a different size. They send it
Yeah.
back to us and we get them out a different size.
No, that's awesome. Brian, really appreciate the time this evening. For those that are tuning in, they're going to watch us later. I'll drop the link to Bakcou.com in the comments. But again, really appreciate you jumping on, chatting with us. And if there's anything that we could do, or next time you're in Texas, give us a shout.
Absolutely. Braxton, thanks for having me. Everybody out there, good luck on your hunts this fall.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
All right, buddy. You too.